Hi. All right, so it's already looking pretty insane out here, but tomorrow looks like it could be between 14 and 16 foot at about 10 seconds, which is pretty wild. So that's the forecast for out there, but is it actually gonna be 16 foot at 10 seconds right here at this jetty, or is it gonna be that 15 miles south of here? Hopefully it's not going to be 16 foot at 12 seconds inside the ferry terminal where the boats are docked. So how do we actually measure that or predict where the waves are going to be a certain size and direction and period? A lot of the time we can use a little bit of theory, but really the data that's available to us is so little that it kind of goes out the window pretty fast. So we employ the use of lots of different instruments to actually directly measure those waves. It turns out that is actually pretty difficult. So we've got a project here where we need to measure the waves at a very specific spot. And to do that, we're using a buoy. So I'm gonna bring you along on this one as we deploy this buoy. But first, we're going down memory lane for a little bit of explanation. I'm going inside. Okay, no joy on the old wave buoy, but we do have. All right, so this is gonna have to work. When I was an undergrad, a friend of mine and I had a project where we wanted to create this low-cost wave buoy that did all the things that a normal wave buoy did, but we knew we were so cocky and we thought, oh, this could be done for a tenth of the cost. So what we did is we pretty much just took like 2 hard hats or like kitchen bowls or something, I can't quite remember, and we took an accelerometer to measure how fast the thing was accelerating, moving. And one of these, this is a Raspberry Pi, and it's just a small computer basically that runs an operating system called Linux. And we wired everything up and put a temperature probe out the side of it, and I had the gall to think that this is going to work and be as accurate as a normal wave buoy. So we put the thing in, we clamped these 2 things together into something that resembled being watertight, and we threw it out in the ocean for about 24 hours, came back the next day, and it was gone. So I've come a long way since then. So as much of a failure as that project truly was, I mean, we've pretty much had nothing for that final report. It really ingrained in me, at least, the concept of double integration, which is the most crucial challenge in measuring waves. So when we're using an accelerometer to go from the acceleration that the device is feeling up to something like a wave height, which is a positional measurement, it turns out that we're going up 2 levels in calculus, and we also go up 2 levels in accumulating error. And so the math kind of works out that on a really low grade accelerometer, within about 10 seconds, your positional measurement is just totally unusable. So for outside something like 16 foot at 10 seconds, you can pretty much throw the accelerometer away after the time that you're going to see the next swell wave. So the reason that these buoys cost so much is not necessarily because of the technology or because of the development or anything like that. It's really just because of the cost of the instruments that are in there to get the accuracy that we need. So I think now it's time to show you a proper setup, and it's not 2 hard hats glued together. this is our like actual professional level setup with the same type of buoy that I had made when I was an undergrad, just a much more professional version of it. So this is a real wave rider buoy, meaning that it rides the waves and measures the motion that it exhibits when it feels those waves going up and down. From there, it does some pretty not that complicated math to get wave height and period, and it even can get us direction, as well as separating out like swell versus wind chop versus longer period infragravity waves and things like that. So this is the actual buoy, but what is all this other stuff behind me? Well, so one of the problems that we had when we were in undergrad is that it was actually really difficult to make the buoy freely feel all of the wave motion while still keeping it in one place. So there's this kind of balance between pulling it down to the seafloor and making sure that it's staying there and allowing it to freely move. So now what we've got is this big, sturdy spar buoy with a nice counterweight and a light and a radar reflector that acts as our kind of like mother buoy, and it has attached to it a bunch of steel cable, a bunch of chain, and this massive can't move it 400-pound weight. And then daisy chained off of that spar buoy directly with just some floating polypropylene line is our wave rider buoy with the correct amount of ballast chain to dampen the motion a little bit, but still allow it to freely move about in the wave conditions. So we kind of have the best of both worlds in being able to have a really nice visible mooring while still allowing our sensor to move about freely. So now the challenge is to get this whole assortment of strangely weighted and heavy objects onto a boat for deployment, and then crucially, safely get all of these things in order off of said boat safely in the right location, which I think is a tomorrow problem. Jojo, you're my hero. Yeah, I guess because we changed like the shock absorption.
Talking about the green obstacle. That's a special breed.
I see Daddy still got a boat in the wall. Yeah, it's everything else. Right on. Well, now that we're back at the dock, I can officially say that it was beautiful out there and we had a really easy deployment. Pretty much just push the thing off the back and quick release the weight. So that was great. And we're gonna leave that buoy out there for another couple months, just kind of monitoring the conditions in that area and helping our local ferry determine how the waves are being affected close to their ferry terminal so that they can build a smaller ferry that they're going to run in the winter, which is super exciting. So I'm glad we got to be a part of that. If you like this video, consider giving me a like or subscribing to the channel. Trying to get this type of oceanography and climate type of content out to people is really important to me, and that's my mission here. So doing that helps me accomplish that. So thank you in advance. I don't know what's coming next, but it's Friday here, so I'm out. I'll see you real soon.
I think it's coming through like the aluminum superstructure because I've been up there and I can't tell where the water. I got